Did I tell you my latest culinary masterpiece? Hot dogs with strawberry jam. Didn't know whether to laugh or cry while tasting it. Can you believe it? Anyway, thought I might share a glimpse of my work shenanigans today. I teamed up with Kayla, a fellow designer, for a concept pitch we are preparing for an upcoming EV industry forum. Kayla and I, working together, felt exciting as we bounced ideas, resulting into a sustainable design concept. You remember Kayla, right? The one who's been in the industry far longer than most of us at Volt Motors. Learning from her experience felt like expanding my professional landscape. The theme is sustainability, so you can imagine lots of green ideas shooting across the room. It's a refreshing change to be working as a team again. I guess in a way, collaboration is a bit like cooking, just with less food involved and less potential for weird flavor combos. Food. Remember our chat earlier about the weirdest food combinations? For some reason, Kiyoshi's almost disaster with the salt in his sweet dish is still playing on my mind. I wonder if anyone in the world actually enjoys salty dessert. Maybe it's an untapped market, or maybe there's a reason we don't mix those two up. Anyway, enough about my food obsession. Oh, speaking of new experiences, remember the pact we made in the group chat about trying a new dish next time we meet up? It's given me some food for thought. Maybe we could get some inspiration from these weird food chats and innovate a bit in our culinary rendezvous. I think it's a great idea. It's a way of pushing our boundaries while also having a bit of fun, don't you think? Bringing back the banter to our meetups. It'll be interesting to see if any of us find a new favorite among our creative choices. That said, our taste buds might never forgive us. It's just our bantering and discussions that make any concern of the day seem trivial. Anyway, the day's almost wrapping up here. Can't help but think about tomorrow's challenges and possibilities for our pitch. It's going to be another hurdle, another triumph. I am excited, though, as it feels quite promising. If all goes well, who knows, big things might just be waiting around the corner. Okay, let me turn off my work mode now. Guess what? I decided to step outside my usual design box today. I've joined an international design initiative. It's all about exploring and understanding design influences from various cultures worldwide. Quite a shift in perspective, you know. We kicked off our first session today discussing Scandinavian functionality and Japanese minimalism. It's fascinating how these design styles so deeply reflect their cultures. In a sense, they're like silent ambassadors expressing the very essence of their origins. I mean, imagine Japanese minimalism, for example. It's more than just a design style, it's like a philosophy, echoing the cultural reverence towards simplicity and mindfulness. It's making me think if the cultural context of a design is something that's overlooked or underestimated. And Scandinavian design, again, the emphasis on functionality, minimalism, and the use of natural materials. You know what they say about it, right? It's like a democratic design because it's made for everyone to use. Such a powerful concept, don't you think? I'm planning on exploring more such design influences and bring them to my work. Who knows what creative fusion this might churn out? So in short, it was enlightening and exciting to dive into these cultural design aesthetics, and I have a strong feeling that it's going to inspire plenty of my future projects. Oh, and the guys were suggesting some new music during our chat today. Kiyoshi mentioned a new album by Spin Cycle. Seems pretty funky. I thought of giving it a try during my evening run. Adds a bit of variety to my music accompaniment while running. I've heard about them, they belong to the indie folk genre. It's not typically my go-to music style, but sometimes a change can be a good thing. Do check it out and let me know what you think. And speaking of musical runs, I had this wild thought. Imagine if we could tune our footfalls to the beats while running. It would make a run sound almost orchestral. If anyone could make a symphony out of a run, it's probably someone like Hans Zimmer, don't you think? Also, just a reminder about the new dish pact. What's your dish concept looking like for our next meetup? I hope it's not as abstract an experiment as those hot dogs with strawberry jam. On random thoughts, don't you just marvel at the intensity of stars in the night sky? I mean, they're these violent explosions, yet from our perspective, they're just these beautiful twinkling lights in the night sky. It's a strangely comforting thought for some reason, at least to me. I don't know, I sometimes look at things beyond their usual frame. Just can't help it. But the best thing is sharing these random thoughts with you. Sentences that obviously don't end the way they pineapple. Feeling a bit whimsical, aren't I? Now I'm going off on a beautifully chaotic tangent here, sorry. Anyway, as usual, quite a day it's been. I am looking forward to a calm evening with my pasta and maybe some spin cycle tracks as a newfound companion. So you know how I've been trying to expand my artistic outlets outside of work. Got into something new today. Started a collage journal to document my day-to-day experiences, a bit like making a visual diary, you know, but with some artistic flair tossed in. It's this wonderful blend of mundane and magic. The intricate patterns formed by cuttings from magazines or printed paper, photos, or even small objects. That's what I've heard, but today was my first day. You know me, always exploring new forms of artistic expression and stepping into unfamiliar terrains. Also, collage journaling. It's not just sticking together bits and pieces. It's like telling a story. My story in this case, a tad therapeutic and a fun way to relax after a day at work. Mid asked me what sparked this new hobby today during our chat. If this goes well, might get some inspiration for designs, who knows? Anyway, went for something simplistic for the first entry. A cup of coffee for my morning routine, a pencil sketch of a new design, and a part of my running shoes for my daily run. Wanted to make it visually appealing, but ended up spending a fair bit of time deciding on what to include without it getting too cluttered. But can't wait to look back at these after a while when they're filled with a collection of all these layers of experiences. It's amazing how these little things we do or see or feel, which might seem pretty ordinary at first glance, can become so delightful when we capture them in this way. Oh, and I've got to tell you about this new podcast I tried this morning, Design Matters. You know how I usually start my day with a podcast? Damn, this one was quite enriching. It's primarily aimed at creative professionals. I found it to be a fulfilling start to my day, not too heavy, and yet loaded with deep insights. Mid said she'd listened to the podcast too, thought she'd be able to get some cues for her graphic novel. So, that's another thing we have in common to talk about. Kiyoshi, though, he had sushi for dinner tonight and couldn't stop talking about the presentation. He even thought about incorporating that style at his restaurant. Who knew our little chats could be so inspirational? You know, I just thought of this. What if we could merge our skills like mid-sketching, my ideas, and Kiyoshi's culinary skills? Oh, and Kiyo and Mid agreed. We're quite the creative trio. Never a dull moment. It feels good, you know, having these small checks of creativity in our lives. Helps break the monotony, doesn't it? So, with all of these little adventures and creative endeavors, the day wasn't that bad after all. Well then,